everyone, it's Jackie. Hopefully you can see me well. I'm trying a new thing. I'm trying to prop my phone up with with some books. Anyways, today's video, as promised, is an overview of my class experience at the Seeing Eye, which is an amazing school that trains guide dogs. It is the oldest school in the United States. You have already seen my parts, days 2 and days 1 and 2 videos. So the third day, as you know, is dog day, and that day we all get our dogs, and it's just full of excitement and awesomeness. So we woke up at 5:30 that day, and then we went to breakfast at 6:45, which we usually go at 7, but that day was special, as it obviously is. Then we had a lecture on the ladder of corrections, because our school does use some leash corrections that do not hurt the dog. Let me emphasize, do not hurt the dog. But anyways, that lecture also included dog fears and trusting and following your dog. Then at around 8:45, we were dismissed to go back to our rooms and wait for our dogs, sit on our beds, double check their room was puppy proofed. I think I double checked my room like a million times. Anyways, I got my girl at 8:54. And then we were taught how to settle our dogs in the dining room around 10. Then we gave them their 10:30 park and had a lecture with our instructor at 11-ish, where we were given our gentle leaders and stuff. Then we had lunch. Then we did our first walk, and that first walk was so liberating. I absolutely loved it. I can't even express how awesome dog day was. Just the anticipation of waiting for the dog and getting the dog and being told everything about the dog. Then we came back from our first walk, which, like I said, was awesome. So on this first walk, my instructor had his very long leash attached while I was working the dog, and I was giving all of the praise, but he was doing any corrective stuff that needed to be done. Then we came back and we had some downtime, which was very much needed, and then we fed the dogs at 4:30, and we took them out to park. Then we had dinner and yada yada yada. Then actually we did some obedience work with the instructor pretending to be the dog, so they were holding the other end of the harness, or the other end of the leash in this case, actually, and I was, learning some of the commands that were used for obedience. So heel, come, and sit. So yeah, and then and then we had a grooming lecture, which was really nice. Then I think, got the rest of the night off. I can't really remember. It's kind of a blur. And I played with the dog. The next morning, we went, we took our dogs out to park and fed them, and then we went to breakfast at 7. Then we had our second walk. After the second walk, I had a meeting with my instructor and our class supervisor. And this meeting was to discuss my progress with my dog. This does not happen with most students, and what I am about to say that happened in our meeting definitely does not happen with most students. It does happen, but it's not very common. So during this meeting, we decided that the first dog that I had been matched with was not the right dog. And so it was decided that I would do better with a different dog, and so they, let me say goodbye to her, and they let me, and then they took her away, and then I went to this traffic lecture and had lunch. After lunch, I got Val, the yellow Labrador you guys have seen in some of my videos. Her name's just Val. I just call her Val Pal, Val Gal, Valley Girl, you name it, or Valerie if she's in trouble. I haven't thought of a middle name, so if you have suggestions, like, go ahead. So I got Valley Girl at 8:50, not 8:54, that's when I got the other dog. I got Valley Girl at 12:54, which is kind of funny, on June 29th. Yes, June 29th. And then at around 1, we left to go have our first walk, and again, the instructor held the leash, did any corrections that were necessary. And that first walk with Val, like the first one with the other dog, was amazing. And guys, walking with a dog is just, oh my goodness, it's the best thing ever. I can't express to you how amazing walking with a dog is. It's just the best thing ever. So anyways, class continued in much the same way, where we had lectures at night and at around 11, and we had walks between 8 and 10:30 in the morning, and between 1 and 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon. And for the first week and a half, or actually the first week of having dogs, we do routes. So they are specified routes that the instructors make. One is shaped like a square, and the other one's more like a triangle pizza wedge thing. And so we are responsible for working with the dogs, and during those routes, we are not expected to memorize them, but it does help because we solo them. Our instructors are right there, but they're not guiding us and telling us what exactly we need to be doing, but they are right there. And they also have barriers up. I think they're made out of like PVC pipe or something, and the dogs have to get around that. And then they also do traffic checks, which is when a car starts moving when you are walking and your dog needs to stop for the car. And I am going to go into traffic checks more in another video, as well as if you want to hear about dog switch and the emotions that went on with that, I will go on about that in a different video. But anyways, so they, want to see how you work with your dog, how you travel with them, how you follow them. And Val and I did amazing on our solos. I'm not trying to toot our horn, but my instructor did say that I did a really good job at following Val, which was something that I was struggling with, or felt that I was struggling with. And he said we looked like we worked really well together. Val was just such a cautious guider. She's just Val, guys. She's just amazing. So then we moved on to the freelance portion on Wednesday afternoon after we soloed the second route. And in that portion, for the last week and a half, if you are a returning student, or 2.5 weeks if you are a first-time student, you work on anything and everything that you want to work on. So one of the things I wanted to work on was trains and buses, and so we had the opportunity to go on a bus in Morristown and a train in the neighboring town. We also got to work on what is called country work, so that is when there's no sidewalks, and your dog needs to hug the left side of the curb. I don't have much country work, if any. I can think of one place where I could do it, but yeah. We also worked on going into stores and having Val follow a shopper's assistant, which my instructor played the role of. We worked on escalators, because I encounter quite a few escalators, especially if I'm going to the mall or something. We also worked on revolving doors that are not automatic, so ones that you literally have to push yourself. The ones that you don't have to push yourself and they just keep moving, woo, 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 those are not safe to go in with a guide dog. But let's see, what else did we work on? We worked on Valley Girl. Gets so distracted by dogs. Not as much as, there are dogs that get more distracted than she does, but we worked on her dog distraction. and I have to say we improved. We also did some walks just around the neighborhood to get more acclimated to each other. And we worked on a college campus. It was not as big as JMU, but we did work on a college campus, and that was awesome because I got to see what she would be like on a college campus. Then we worked on what is known as clicker, and that is where I was able to teach her using a target and a bell, or a target and a clicker, which goes click, how to find specific things. So we worked on that with finding a door in a building, or we did it with a picnic table just to see how she would do it. And in the dining hall at the Seeing Eye, we actually worked on showing them where our chairs were. We had assigned seats, and so clicker training, guys, literally takes 15 minutes. Well, it's more involved, but the initial session can take 15 minutes for something as simple as teaching your dog where your specific chair in a dining hall or something is, or a classroom. So that was really cool. I love clicker training, and I'll go into that in another lecture, or not lecture, in another video. I keep thinking these are lectures because that's how they were scheduled during dog training. We also worked on crowds. So we went to a mall, and I got to see how Val would do in a crowded situation or around lots of food. But my favorite trip, guys, was to New York City. And obviously we got to work on their subway system, and obviously we got to do a lot of crowd work because New York City is hella crowded. And Val, you guys, she was amazing in New York City. Like, she didn't run me into anything. She was just perfect. I mean, yeah, did she make some mistakes? Yeah, she probably did. And she needed to have her gentle leader on because Val is a sniffer. But she also didn't get distracted too terribly much by the pigeons, which was really cool because there are dogs who get distracted by the pigeons. And overall, I just absolutely loved that trip with her. We did have some issues in class where Val was hesitating at going through doors, and she was also hesitating at the top or bottom of stairs whenever we needed to take it. It took us a while to fix, and some of it we had to fix with clicker training just to get her, to know that going up or down a stair or going up through a door is not, she wasn't intimidated, she wasn't frightened, but just to get her to know, oh, this is a positive thing, this is what she wants me to do. And we got those fixed. There was a point during one of our solos where Val completely stopped, and it took some cheerleading to get her through, but that was also a route that the dogs had done. She was probably bored and so done with, and it was also a very hot day. So, I don't blame her. I was worried, and I did ask my trainer if this would continue, and he said, no, I think it's just a class thing. The dogs get stressed during class, and, he basically said that he didn't think it was anything to worry about, especially with the stairs and doors, because we were getting that issue resolved, and by the end of class, it was, she wasn't scared. Or she never had been scared, but she wasn't as hesitant at the end of class. But two last notable trips that we made were to the pet store, where I bought Larrauri a Nylabone, one of the rubber ones that have little dots on it. It was bacon cheeseburger flavor. I got her a pink bone-shaped tag where I put my information and her information. And I got her a toothbrush and toothpaste combination. Okay, sorry if you can hear that. Those people outside. And the last trip we did, before the returning students went home, we went to this creamery in Morristown, which was delicious. And on that trip, we actually had to use their booties because, well, the ground was hot, extremely so, just disrespectfully so. It was just so hot throughout the whole month, but that day was just awful. I mean, so we had to use her booties, and I got to see how she would work in them. She actually did really well in her booties, which was awesome, because a lot of dogs just look really weird when they have their booties on. But yeah, so those were our last 2 trips. And then on July 19th, my wonderful mother came to pick us up at around 10 or 11, at around 11 in the morning, and she drove us home. And no, I don't have it anymore. I cried. I definitely cried when we left, because obviously I was so happy that I was going home with the dog, but also I was scared because now I wouldn't have an instructor behind me telling me, follow your dog, hand in the middle of the harness. And so these were things that now I had to make a list of every time that I went out with Val. List, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. All these things that you need to do. I didn't have that many things, I promise I'm not. But, I had to remember, okay, are you doing A, B, and C? Okay, if this happens, how you need to handle this situation with X, Y, Z techniques that you were taught in class. So it's a lot to remember, but overall, guys, our class experience was wonderful. I got an amazing dog, and yes, we had issues, and yes, I was extremely sad that I had to have a dog switch, which, like I said, is pretty rare, but it does happen. And if you want to hear more about the dog switch, I can go into more detail, but overall, I loved guide dog school, and yeah, it's just awesome, and I'm so glad that I had such a positive class experience with my goofy yellow Labrador. Alright, well, I will see you guys on the 13th of April with a video discussing Val and I's first couple of months home. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, give me a comment of what you would like to see in future videos, give the video a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, y'all!